to the channel. I'm back to break down this 10-game MLB DFS slate on DraftKings and FanDuel. Back with another breakdown. Nailed another home run call last night going with Anthony Santander. So excited to give you guys another home run call at the end of this video. Looking to keep that going. One of the top hitters on the slate last night as well, which always makes me feel a lot better about that pick. So if you like home run picks, if you like that kind of thing, stay tuned to the end of the video. And if you do enjoy the content at any point in this video, if you could please leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, that would be greatly appreciated. I'll be here all MLB DFS season long, breaking down these MLB DFS slates to help you guys become better MLB DFS players, help you guys win some money night in and night out. That subscribe button is really going to help me out, guys. It's free. It takes 2 seconds. I have yet to make a dime off any of these videos off YouTube. Once I get to 1,000, I can make a little bit. That's going to help me out a lot. I've been working hard to try to give you guys some free information. So if you can do that to help me out in return, that would be, that would mean a lot to me. And if you are interested in some premium content, you can check that out. That's linked below in the description. You get access to all the same tools that I use when building my own MLB DFS lineups. I continue to hear some really good stuff from people in the comments, in Patreon, all of the above, that they're very happy with the package, that they've been winning money since joining. So if you're interested in that, check that out. And with that being said, let's go ahead and start breaking down this slate today. As always, I like to go ahead and sort my sheet by K rate. It's fantasy sports. We get points for strikeouts. Got to figure out the top pitchers we want to play in the slate today, and then the latter half of the video, we'll get into the hitters that we really like. And the top guy on the slate today is going to be Robbie Ray, taking on the Chicago White Sox. He comes in with a 30.7% K overall, a 15.1 swinging strike rate, 30.1% K rate against righties, and a 33.1% K rate against lefties. Really, the only thing he has that isn't going for him in this one would be the matchup. The Chicago White Sox, who do have a very good lineup that has a bunch of power against left-handed pitching, but with that being said, they do have a lot of strikeouts, so something's got to give here. Robbie Ray has been really good all year. He is 10-5 on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, they have him priced at 8-9, so he's got a nice discount over on DraftKings. Specifically, last outing against Detroit, he had 11 Ks, 1 earned runs, over 8 innings pitched, 109 pitches. So he can be a workhorse. He can get you a lot of Ks. I mean, Detroit's obviously one of the best matchups you could ask for, but another situation where he has a lot of K upside, a great matchup where he could really pay off for you in tournaments. And I'll definitely be having some interest in him. Second on the list, we have Yu Darvish taking on the Los Angeles Dodgers. A little bit less of an ideal matchup, and he is returning off the IL. So as far as any limitations, I don't think it's going to be too much, but I do think he's going to have somewhat of a limitation. I would expect him to maybe be pulled around like mid-80s to 90 pitches. And he's taking on a Los Angeles Dodgers team tonight. That's really not the best matchup in the world for us to be targeting. They have a 4.32 implied run total. So, I don't know. There's also conflicting reports that it could be Blake Snell. And in general, my probable pitchers I get off DraftKings, and DraftKings has been very, very accurate for the most part all season long. So just so you guys know my process, that's how I do it. And it does look like Blake Snell could be starting. Darvish, Snell, regardless, the Dodgers are going to be a tough matchup. Not sure they're going to be one of the top arms we're really going to when we have a guy like Shohei Ohtani on the slate as well, taking on the Baltimore Orioles. The Baltimore Orioles have been striking out a ton. He's a 29.6% overall K rate, a 13.4 swinging strike rate, 34.7% K rate against righties, and a 25% K rate against lefties. Does Shohei Ohtani. So, definitely going to be a viable option. He's taking on a Baltimore Orioles team today that I'd expect him to be a pretty hefty favorite in this one because whoever the Orioles are going to roll out isn't looking too friendly. I'm expecting it to be Dean Kremer, as you can see on my list. And if it's a bullpen game for the Orioles, that's okay too because their bullpen's terrible. I'd expect Ohtani to be a pretty heavy favorite. He's 11-6 on FanDuel. On DraftKings, they have him priced at 8-7, so another friendly discount on DraftKings. Last time out, he had 8 Ks, 90 pitches, only 1 earned run, over 8 innings pitched against Detroit. So another great outing for Ohtani. I'd expect him to keep it going in this one. And he's going to be a great option on this slate today. Brandon Woodruff taking on the Cincinnati Reds. Really not the easiest matchup in the world, but this guy's been good all season long. A 29.3% K overall with a 12.3 swinging strike rate, a 28% K rate against righties, and a 30.5% K rate against lefties. And really, really good across the board as far as hard contact, ground ball, fly ball, slugging. So while he doesn't get the most ideal matchup in the world, I do think he could have a pretty good game here against the Cincinnati squad. He's 10-3 on FanDuel. Over on DraftKings, he's 10-2. This kind of brings me to a random thought, but a true thought. As this season goes along, like last night I had a lot of exposure to Eric Fetty. Just keep in mind, guys, the matchups are going to be very important for us moving forward. A lot of these teams are just really looking watered down, so I'm going to be relying on some easy matchups a lot of the way. Like I mean, with some of these guys don't really have the easiest matchup. We have Zach Wheeler taking on the Tampa Bay Rays, Lucas Giolito taking on Toronto. Really, both of those guys not in the easiest matchups. And then we get down to Walker Buehler. He's taking on the San Diego Padres. They really don't strike out a lot. Luis Castillo is taking on a Milwaukee squad that does strike out a lot, so maybe we're looking a little bit more heavily towards him. And we already talked about the fact that Ohtani gets to take on the Orioles. Ray gets to take on the strikeout-heavy Chicago White Sox squad. So just keep this in mind as we're going. Zach Wheeler is going to be a great option across the board. Ground ball, fly ball stuff's really good. Strikeout rate's really good. He's taking on a Rays squad tonight that has made some big improvements to the lineup, but I do tend to think that they're still more on the K-happy side as well, talking about, some lineups that we'd run a target over others. I mean, Randy Arozarena can strike out, Mejia, Austin Meadows, Brandon Lau, Wander Franco. Once again, not an ideal matchup, but we really need the K's if we're going to target one of these pitchers against a better squad. And the Padres just really don't strike out very much at all. The Dodgers really are going to be a tough matchup, so I tend to lean towards Wheeler being my next option. Not that the Rays are any easier of a matchup from a talent aspect, but I think there's going to be more Ks there. He's very good at keeping the ball on the ground. He's got a good sinker baller, can throw hard, pushing a 30% K rate against both sides of the plate. He would be the one I'm leaning to. Lucas Giolito taking on the Blue Jays. Could be looking at him as well. He does give up a lot of hard contact to right-handed hitting. The Blue Jays do have a lot of elite bats there. But one thing I will point out is the Blue Jays lineup's really starting to look watered down compared to what it was, a couple weeks ago. Like, there's no George Springer at the top. From about 6 down, guys like Espinal, Grichuk, Reese McGuire, not quite as elite talented as some of the bats we were seeing there before. So maybe Giolito could be an interesting option for you. We have Josiah Gray taking on the Miami Marlins. They're a team that I've been consistently targeting. I mentioned I had a bunch of Fetty last night, and it wasn't because Eric Fetty's an elite talent. It's because the Miami Marlins are just that bad. And then we have Josiah Gray going tonight. And he has a high K rate. As far as his pitch count's concerned, he's been right up to around 90 pitches the last 2 times out. He's had 6 Ks, 4 Ks, 200 and 300 runs. And I think that this is another spot we could really be looking to him here. He's 7.9 on DraftKings. Over on FanDuel, they have him priced at 8K. And his K stuff's been very impressive. He has a 17.2% swinging strike rate over 30 innings pitched. That's top on the slate. 28% K rate, a 29.3% K rate against righties, and a 26% K rate against lefties. And while he hasn't been doing the best in the hard contact category, he really hasn't been walking too many people as far as the right-handed side of the plate. Lefties, he does have a 10% walk rate. And the Marlins do have a pretty right-handed heavy lineup. So everything seems to match up pretty well for Josiah Gray in this matchup. Definitely going to be having some interest in him. And then, as I had mentioned, Luis Castillo taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. The team has been striking out a lot. He has really good ground ball, fly ball stuff with a 23.2% K rate against righties and a 23% K rate against lefties. So I definitely think that you could be looking his way. And that would be my main interest for pitching on this slate. Let's go ahead and transition over to bats. As always, I like to go ahead and sort my sheet by Sierra. Skill interactive ERA. It's a good way of determining how good a pitcher's been so far in the season and how good they're expected to be in the future. And the worst on the slate is going to be Dean Kremer taking on the Los Angeles Angels. As you can see, Kremer across the board, really bad ground ball, fly ball, walk rate, everything really looking a lot of red on my sheet. A 580 slugging given up to righties, a 506 slugging given up to lefties. And, has just not been good. If this is going to be a Baltimore Orioles bullpen game, I'm still going to have a lot of interest in the Angels. And the only unfortunate thing is we can't play Ohtani in our stacks because he is expected to pitch tonight. But other than that, going to have a lot of interest in this stack. Fletcher, Upton, Walsh, Glacius, Stassi, Marsh, Adele, Mayfield. One thing I want to mention is I think that these bats at the bottom of the lineup have a lot of raw talent, like Brandon Marsh, Joe Adele, Jack Mayfield. They can all really rake as far as power is concerned. They just maybe struggle against major league pitching sometimes, and the Baltimore Orioles pitching is so bad that I think that the bottom of the order is definitely going to stick out to me a lot more than some of these guys typically would. They're young, they have a lot of talent, they're just a little bit raw, and this is the type of AAA pitching that they need to see to get going. So I definitely like the Angel stack today. Don't be afraid to play guys at the bottom of the order. Tyler Gilbert taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. He threw that no-hitter, but overall his underlying metrics have not really been good. Ground ball, fly ball stuff's bad. Hard contact stuff's bad. A 441 slugging given up to righties. Lefties, he has been very, very good so far. Only 17 inning switch sample size, keep in mind, but he is a left-handed hurler himself. So it's looking like the right-handed power we can really target him with. Michael Chavis, Ke'Bryan Hayes, Brian Reynolds, Jacob Stallings, Kevin Newman, Anthony Alford, if you want to go to the Pittsburgh stack as a low-owned option. And the Arizona Diamondbacks bullpen has been absolutely terrible. Arguably the worst in the league. So could be looking to the Pittsburgh Pirates stack if they're not going to get much ownership. Mitch Keller in the same game has been really bad. Ground ball, fly ball stuff's not good. Hard contact stuff's not good. A 468 slugging given up to righties. A 534 slugging given up to lefties. Has been absolutely dreadful against lefties. Arizona Diamondbacks are going to be in a great spot today outside of the ballpark. It's really the only thing that's really not looking too good on this game is the PNC Park. As far as, hitter metrics and all that stuff's concerned, it really doesn't grade out very well. It's a great hitting ballpark. But other than that, we're looking pretty good as far as hitting weather, 84 degrees, all that fun stuff. And you can definitely be looking to the Diamondbacks stack and most notably the lefties. You got Rojas, Ketel Marte, Pavin Smith. I mean, don't be afraid to play Christian Walker in the 4th spot. He's still bad against righties. Peralta, Van Meter, Ellis, Varsho. I would have no issues playing the stack all the way up and down as well tonight. Ballpark's less than ideal, but Zach Plesac taking on Texas. He's a guy that maybe even could be playing as a pitcher because Texas has been terrible, but he just really doesn't strike anyone out. He gives up a 46 slugging to righties, so the righties are the guys you want to target if you're going to Texas. I have a feeling you're not going to want to target Texas because they're just really not that good, but could get them low on. Plesac really hasn't been that good. And Leovidas Tavares at the top of the order. Kenner Fafella, Adolis Garcia, Nate Lowe, DJ Peters, Jason Martin, Nick Solak, Ibanez, and Trevino. Yeah, not the greatest lineup in the world, but the opposing pitcher isn't the greatest. If you want to target there, I wouldn't call you crazy. Taijuan Walker taking on the San Francisco Giants. He has been really good against lefties. Has been struggling more so against righties, and for that reason, I'm not going to have all that much interest in the Giants. I had a lot of interest in them yesterday. I talked about it as a low-owned stack, and they really did pay off for you if you went and played those lefties. In this situation, though, Walker's been really good against lefties, and they're going to load up on those lefties again, and I'm not going to be nearly as interested in them as I was yesterday, taking on Nagel, who had those splits issues. Nick Pivetta taking on Minnesota. He's a guy that's always given up a lot of hard contact. He gives up a 417 slug into righties. Has been a lot better against lefties on the season, and his strikeout rate is pretty high. You can make an argument for actually playing him. He's a guy that I didn't really touch on, but he is going to be a 175 favorite in this one. The Twins have a 4.56 implied run total. If you want to target him, you really like to target him in the right-handed power. You got Brent Rooker, Josh Donaldson, Miguel Sano. Can round out your stacks with the lefties. Not getting nearly as excited to play them, but Pivetta is definitely a guy that can get blown up at times, so I wouldn't call you crazy if you want to stack up against him. Ryan Yarbrough taking on the Philadelphia Phillies. You're really looking to target him with the right-handed power. His hard contact stuff has been really good, though. Still gives up a 482 slug in those righties. Philly, unfortunately, I don't really think has the greatest lineup to match up with him. But you got Gene Segura, JT Realmuto, Rhys Hoskins, Andrew McCutchen. They're all going to be great against left-handed pitching. Freddie Galvis, Ronald Torreyes, Luke Williams. I don't hate it. I don't hate the Philly stack. You can definitely play Bryce Harper lefty on lefty as well. I mean, Segura, Realmuto, Hoskins, and McCutchen in the 4 and 5 spot specifically would be the favorite ones there. Really looking to target them. Johnny Cueto taking on the New York Mets. He's really been below average, a 437 slugging given up to righties, a 478 slugging given up to lefties. That's really not impressive whatsoever, specifically against lefties. The New York Mets have been struggling quite a bit, but if there was ever a spot for them to get back on track, I would hope this would be the one. Taking on Cueto, I think they could make it happen. And I'd have interest in playing pretty much every single guy in this lineup, to be honest with you. Nimmo, Lindor, Pete Alonso, Michael Forto, Javi Baez. I mean, Cueto's been bad to both sides of the plate, and I could see the Mets getting it going here, so you can go to them as a low-owned stack if they're not expected to get much ownership. Jose Gray, I mentioned his hard contact issues. He does give up a bunch of fly balls, a bunch of hard contact. If you want to go to the Miami Marlins, the problem is he does strike out a bunch of people, and the Marlins strike out a bunch as well. So it's going to be kind of tough to be going here, but this could be the low-owned stack that you might need to take down some tournaments. I wouldn't put it past the Marlins to possibly get to him, but I expect there to be a lot of strikeouts along the way. Let's put it that way. Miguel Rojas, Chaz Chisholm, Jesus Aguilar, Jesus Sanchez, Brian Anderson, Brian De La Cruz, Lewis Brinson. I mean, there's some power throughout there. The strikeouts are there, but throughout the heart of this order with guys like Chisholm, Aguilar, Jesus Sanchez, Anderson, Brinson, De La Cruz in that range. Miguel Rojas at the top can also. Alex Jackson at the bottom of the order is really one I would say, I'm going to have a hard time playing him. But Bailey Ober taking on the Boston Red Sox. Ground ball, fly ball stuff's bad. Hard contact stuff's bad. He gives up a 457 slug into righties, a 525 slug into lefties. Does have a high K rate against righties, but that's about the only thing he has going on for him today. And the Red Sox will get to take on that Minnesota Twins bullpen once again as well after him, and they are not good. So the Red Sox have a very deep lineup. Ober has not been good. The Twins bullpen has not been good. I think the Red Sox are going to be a tremendous stack today with a 5.94 implied run total. And once again, a situation where I pretty much feel comfortable playing every single bat in this lineup except for the catcher, Christian Vasquez at the bottom. But if you need the salary relief or if you need the catcher spot on DraftKings, I think it's great to include him in your stack because he should get plenty of opportunity. If I'm playing on FanDuel, I would rather just play Travis Shaw if he's going to crack the lineup, or Bobby Dahlbeck if they're like the same price. I just think that Shaw has a lot more upside than Vasquez most of the time. And that's about all that I'd be looking to on this slate, to be honest. I mean, Lucas Giolito taking on the Blue Jays. We had mentioned his hard contact issues against righties. That could maybe be a sneaky spot to be targeting. And then the same is going to apply for the righties on the White Sox. So in that game, both lineups that do have a bunch of power, both lineups that don't get the most ideal matchup in the world, but I could see them both getting to the opposing pitcher. On the White Sox side, it would be Anderson, Luis Robert, Jose Abreu, Eloy Jimenez, Andrew Vaughn, that I'm really having interest in, alongside Luis Garcia and Cesar Hernandez. They've both been very good against lefties. Moncada you can throw in there if you need a third baseman, but he's always been much better against right-handed pitching. And then on the Blue Jays, target those right-handed power bats in Bichette, Semien, Guerrero, Hernandez, Gurriel, and Grichuk. And that's about it. I mean, we have the Indians taking on Jake Latz of the Texas Rangers. Expect to be. Really don't have any data on him. I'd expect that he's really not going to be that great. They have a 5.09 implied run total. He's a lefty, so go ahead and stack up these Indians for sure. And the Rangers bullpen's really not that great. So that'd be the last stack that I would really touch on this slate today. And before I let you guys go, I got to give you my home run call of the day. Let's get into it. And my home run call of the day today is going to be Kyle Schwarber taking on Bailey Ober. We had mentioned his hard contact issues specifically against lefties has been dreadful, with a .525 slugging given up to those lefties, a 40.9% fly ball rate, only striking them out at about a 21% clip. Schwarber really hasn't gotten it going yet since joining the Sox, but I expect this matchup to be one where he finally does, because he matches up great here. Breaking down the repertoire that Ober goes to, on average, he'll go to that fastball about 60% of the time. You're looking at about a 92 to 93 mile-an-hour fastball, and Kyle Schwarber rushes that pitch. A 362 ISO with a 381 WOBA. And then as far as the secondary pitches, he'll go to the changeup 18% of the time and the curveball 15% of the time against those left-handed pitchers, left-handed hitting, and Schwarber matches those pitches. Against the changeup, he has a 219 ISO with a 296 WOBA. And the curveball's not an issue either for Schwarber because he features a 246 ISO with a 326 WOBA. Love this spot for Kyle Schwarber. Get him in your lineups because he is my home run call of the day. So there you have it, guys. Kyle Schwarber. Get him in your lineups. And that is all from me in this one. If you did enjoy the content, if you could please take a moment to leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content that I upload. That would be awesome, guys. Wish you the best of luck tonight, and we will see you in the next one.